Good evening if you're in Nigeria. Good afternoon. Good morning, depending on where you are. My name is Talatu Boy. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, ma, we can hear you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Mike. So today we're going to have a special, wonderful, and a great leader on our call for product mastery. It's none other than our very own brother, Mr. Michael Asa. Mr. Michael Asa is a husband and a father of 2 children. He is a pastor based in Abuja. He is a professional in his field. He's a pharmacist. He has years of experience in marketing pharmaceutical products. He is an elite associate with IMMERI Nigeria. Very humble, very down to earth. Maybe I should say he's a shy person. He's professionally shy.
Yes.
Like he said last time. So Mr. Mike will be sharing with us some deep knowledge about this product. I remember when he got started, he said, Madam Talatu, Madam Alheri, what we are having here at IMMERI has no price tag. If only you guys know what this product carries, you won't market it the way you are doing. But you guys should go ahead. I am going to do more research on these products. And when I come back, I will show you how this game can better be played. And the few times we've been on this platform with him, he shared about these products, and we all look forward to hearing more of it. So, ladies and gentlemen, my advice is pay attention. Yes, you've known a lot about IMMERI products, but you don't know it this much. So get your pen, get your paper, stay away from noisy environment, and stay glued to your phone so you can get all the valuable in-depth you'll be getting from Mr. Mike. And on this call this evening, we have a leader whom I have to recognize. It's none other person than the one we call our father. All the way from Trinidad and Tobago, we've enjoyed his mentorship. He's been like a father to us in IMMERI. He's been so awesome, so willing to help. No dull moment around him. He believes in the dream. He believes in us even more than we can see what we carry in us. So he has been of great help to us. He has been a great blessing. And there's none other person than Mr. Brian Louis. He is on this call. He has some people on this call, and to all the guests and IMMERI leaders, and to my powerful team members, team presidential as a whole, you guys are special. So, ladies and gentlemen, I bring to you on the mic this evening, Mr. Mike Asa.
Thank you, Madam Talatu, for that very flattering introduction. I felt you were talking about somebody else. Thank you very much. I'd like to especially thank the leadership of the House, particularly Madam Talatu, our wonderful leader in Team Presidential, for this opportunity. I don't uh, count it as a right or like a, you know, it's always a privilege, an awesome privilege to bring the wonderful news about Mary to us all. I'd like to thank Mr. Brian Louis especially. I mean, he's a miracle worker, to be honest with you. I mean, look at how handsome I'm looking in this slide. Thank you very much, Mr. Brian. Really appreciate it. Thank you, Mr. Jamal. Thank you to every other leader in the house. Um, I hope everybody can hear me clearly. Can I just get some feedback before we get started? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So let's just go into the presentation. Let's start with the first slide. Very important slide. IMMERI. Okay, now these products are not have not been licensed to replace what we call prescription drugs. Okay, so uh, it's just a disclaimer for your information. So don't get into any arguments with anybody about my drug can make you stop taking your prescribed drugs. Please don't do that. This is just a disclaimer for our use. Okay, next slide. I'd like to say something important on this slide, right? If you notice, IMMERI is a combination of the German word immer, which means eternity, and that special I that stands for international, right? So this is the philosophy on which our products are built upon and designed, which is a crucial mindset for you to have before we get into these products, because they are not just designed to treat any particular infection, they are designed to largely help you prevent a lot of things. So once you are on any of the products, you are not only taking care of the current situation, but you're also preventing further recurrence. So please bear that in mind as we go along. Can we move on, Sam? Okay, so this is the leadership of IMMERI. Between the three of them, we have over 100 years of combined experience in the direct selling industry. These three guys are awesome. Mr. Tan Kam Fu, who is the president, and Mr. Lau Chong Guan, who is the CEO, and Mr. Yap Wai Yen. Most of us know Mr. Yap. He's the group executive vice president, and he comes around often. And this is the leadership of the company, right? So we we actually have a very very solid background at the top. Next slide, Sam. Okay, so our mission is creating happiness for ourselves and our family, right? Through health, continuous growth, financial freedom, and giving back to society. And this mission still goes back to the name IMMERI. The idea is not to give people quick fix solutions that will easily wear out. The idea is to give solutions that will not only treat whatever is going on with you now, but also help you prevent further occurrence in the future. Always remember that, please. Next slide. Okay, so what is our product commitment? Right? Uh, we are giving you high quality products. Products are we produce the products we are talking about are products that we use ourselves. It's not a case of do as I say, but not as I do. These products are products that you or any member of your family or your loved ones can use and recommend to others. And we use only green and natural raw materials. No GMO foods, just genetically modified organisms in any of our products. There are nothing that can cause any allergies or any of that. So this is one of the strong selling points of IMMERI products. Are products that you can use at any point in time. Okay, can we go on? Right. So let's get down to business. Mr. Brian has admonished that I just use 15 minutes per product. So I'm going to time myself and make sure we move very fast today. Okay, so let's go ahead. This is Virgin. It's a flagship product. And all of you know that I actually love Virgin. I have a soft spot for Virgin. So I'll do my best to say very little about Virgin. Now, the first thing I'm going to say about Virgin is this. These are the ingredients. I'll talk about the ingredients one by one. But the first thing I'd like to let you guys know is that when I talk to people about Virgin, when I am introducing Virgin to someone who has never heard of it, who has never used it, I like to tell them that Virgin is a prebiotic vaginal gel. That phrase is very important to help you build, the case for Virgin and also help you communicate how special Virgin is as a product. I usually tell people that if you tell your clients that this is Virgin Refreshing Intimate Gel, in this part of the world, the picture that comes to mind of when you say intimate gel, we're talking about lubricants and all those other kind of cheaper gels. But Virgin is a premium product. It's a forward-thinking, futuristic kind of product, and it was designed with the goal of IMMERI in mind, which is, having a preventive mindset to help you be stay happy and stay healthy. Okay, so the first thing we have there is the Virgin patent. We'll look at it in the next slide. I don't want to read it out. Then, as we go on, I'll show you exactly what these ingredients are and what makes them special, and how working together all these ingredients make Virgin the ultimate product. There is no other product like Virgin out there. Please listen, I'm saying you can take it to the bank. There is nothing else like Virgin out there in the market. Okay? So we have Virgin patents, antibacterial and immune peptides, organic acids, seaweed extract, and all. But we have, in the next slide, you're going to see the role they all play. So can we have the next slide? Very good. Now, Virgin helps women to regain their confidence. This is so true because, like I said, most women know whether the first time they begin to sense there may be an issue in their private area is when they have either itching or odor or discharge. But from what I've found, these issues don't just come up overnight. They must have been a process that has led the woman down that path. So what we want to do in IMMERI is not just take care of the itching and the odor, right? We want to ensure that it doesn't happen again. So now let's take a look at the ingredients. Number one ingredient is the Virgin patent. Now, when we say Virgin patent, right, that's the reason why I say there's no other product like Virgin out there. It's a special blend of aloe vera gel extract and some other ingredients that I myself don't really know about. It's a trade secret. It's only the top guys in Malaysia that know this secret, but it's blended in such a way that it's unique. There is no other place you can get this kind of blend. Okay, so what does aloe vera gel do in Virgin? It helps to reduce inflammation, and like I said when we started, the day a woman begins to notice itching is not when the problem started. It started most likely 3 to 6 weeks before that time. There was a steady decline of, the probiotics in the vaginal area, and the pH started changing and all of that. And the bacteria started, causing havoc in the system. And the body system tries to fight back, but it takes a while. After a while, the woman begins to have itching. And that itching is because there's inflammation in the area. So what aloe vera gel and the other ingredients of the Virgin patent does is to help to calm down that swelling and that inflammation. Okay, the next ingredient rather is what we refer to as the immune peptide. Now, like I said, the immune peptide are some substances secreted by the vaginal cell walls that act like natural antibiotics. Okay, now what do? They actually have antibacterial and antifungal properties, but they are only released within the vagina. It's a natural defense mechanism that God has put there. So what we were able to do in IMMERI, which is simply just phenomenal, is that we were able to isolate this particular bacteriocin and put it in Virgin. So it actually has antibacterial and antifungal activity. If you've actually looked at the box of Virgin, if you turn the back, you will see some of the antibacterial activities written there. Within the first 15 minutes or so, it kills off up to 90% of all the germs present in the vaginal area, which is simply phenomenal. Okay? So the next ingredient there is organic lactic acid. Now, please note something important here. When we say organic lactic acid, it's not just a terminology we're using. We're not just trying to brag. But we're saying organic lactic acid because it's cultured from strains of lactobacilli. Bear in mind that what the probiotic that exists in the woman's reproductive tract is called lactobacilli. So what we did at IMMERI was to isolate some of these lactobacilli and culture them and now remove the lactic acid produced by this natural occurring lactobacilli. There are some chemicals, right, that can produce lactic acid for you, but that lactic acid is not naturally occurring. So what happens is, if you use it in your vagina, it won't really elicit the desired effect. But our own lactic acid is produced naturally, right, by a fermentation process. It's not produced by chemical reaction. So what that means is that it's actually specific and helps to quickly reduce the vaginal pH within hours of introducing it into the area. We also have algae extract or seaweed extract. Now, this seaweed extract has antiviral activity against HPV and against some other smaller viruses. Plus, it doesn't have activity against HIV, okay? But it has activity against HPV. And in due time, in the future, I'll tell us some important news about HPV. Right now, I'm still researching, so just hold on for that news, okay? Next slide, please. Oof, now this page is my best because it has four of my favorite ingredients in vagine. We have sodium hyaluronate, or which is what we refer to as hyaluronic acid. Hyaluronic acid is a natural moisturizer, which is why I usually tell people that vagine is a prebiotic vaginal gel. If you say intimate refreshing gel, people feel like it's just like KY jelly or a lubricant. The difference between hyaluronic acid and something like KY jelly is like the difference between night and day, or the difference between a Ferrari and a Volkswagen Beetle. Hyaluronic acid is naturally found in the body, and once introduced into an area that has inflammation or injury, it promotes healing and restores, the vaginal mucosa. It helps the healing process. If you actually go online, you'll find that people use hyaluronic acid in their eyes, in different areas of the body, use it for the skin. So it's something that is naturally occurring in the body and has no form of adverse reaction whatsoever. People even inject it into parts of their body, and everything. So it's awesome, it's wonderful, and is one of the ingredients that makes vagine very unique. Number six ingredient is my best, which is why I actually name vagine after it. These are probiotic prebiotic polysaccharides. That's typographical error there. Prebiotic polysaccharides. What do? They act as a fertilizer, and what they do is that they feed the probiotics in the vagina. Probiotics are the group of bacteria we refer to as lactobacilli. Lactobacilli because they produce lactic acid, which makes the vagina to have an acidic pH and make it uninhabitable for bad bacteria. So these prebiotics are gotten from wild mushrooms which grow in Poland. Okay, so of course you can understand how expensive they will be, because you have to fly them all the way from Poland down to the processing plant and all of that, right? But what do they do? This is one of the things that make Virgin unique and priceless. A prebiotic is better than administering probiotic capsules. Okay, now let me try and break down the difference between a probiotic and a prebiotic very quickly. A prebiotic gel helps the probiotics that are already in the vagina to grow, whereas a probiotic, the idea behind that is trying to introduce new strains of lactobacilli into the woman. More often than not, 95% of the time, the new implants of the probiotics are actually rejected by the system. But when you're giving a prebiotic, which is what we have in vagina, it helps the lactobacilli in the woman, the naturally occurring lactobacilli, to grow. And we are told that once you give vagine, right, the lactobacilli begin to double in population every 20 minutes. And vagine actually is active for 8 hours after administration. So just imagine 3 times an hour, the population of the lactobacilli doubles. So, I mean, with just one stick of vagine, you are talking of almost 100-fold, 100 to 200-fold increase of the lactobacilli that are present there, which is huge. Okay. Number seven is vitamin E, which helps to maintain a hormonal balance in the vagina. And we have this one is Madame Talato's favorite ingredient, ilang ilang oil, Cananga odorata. It's a natural deodorizer. Now, it is natural, it's not artificial, so it doesn't affect the pH of the vagina, it doesn't affect the probiotics, and it doesn't affect any of the systems in the vagina. It doesn't cause irritation, it doesn't cause any itching. And it is a natural aphrodisiac, which is why if your clients are honest with you, after using Virgin last thing at night, while they are sleeping, they start feeling very, and then, Right, so let's go to the next slide. Right, so these are some of the things I've actually been highlighting earlier, but because of time, I won't really go through all of that. But let me just say this. Number 3 is the most important thing on this slide, and I'll talk about number 5 briefly. It helps to prevent vaginal infections. And how does it do that? After it takes care of the odor, after it takes care of the itching, it actually helps to restore your vaginal pH to its normal acidic level of between 3.5 and 4.4. It helps to restore the population and replenish the population of the lactobacilli, and it also helps to repair the walls of the vagina. So those 3 mechanisms help the woman to stay healthy and to prevent further cases of infection. So we are not just interested in treating you now so that you come back a month later or 2 months later. No. A woman, and I read this somewhere, if you use Virgin, use the whole box, that's 6 sticks, right? You are protected from these toilet infections for about 3 years. I gave it to my wife last year, I don't know, July or so, and she hasn't had an infection till date. This is almost a year now, so I'm just watching to see, you know, how long she would last. But that is very, very important. This is one thing you want to tell people that you give Virgin to. We want to both treat and prevent further infections. Okay. Number 5 says it helps to repair the vaginal cell walls and make the vagina naturally strong and tight. All the other things out there, all these so-called vaginal tighteners, what they do is they just help to remove some of the water of the vagina and then gives a false sense of tightness, but not Virgin. Virgin actually heals the vagina on a cellular level. So it's also very important that you bear this in mind. Okay. Um, Virgin is not a quick fix solution. It's a product that helps you to re-engineer and rework everything within the system from the inside out. Okay, so it's not a quick fix. It's not something that you just use and then 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, you're still in the same situation. No, it is a corrective and a preventive measure taken to help women. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Right, it improves sex life for women. We have a lot of testimonies. See Madam Talatu for the testimonies. She has a lot of a lot of those testimonies. But this is actually true, right? I'm not trying to exaggerate here because that ilang ilang is a natural aphrodisiac for women. It's something that they use in the Eastern culture, actually. When I say Eastern culture, I mean China, Malaysia, Hong Kong, and all of those places. It's a flower that they use naturally in what we refer to as aromatherapy. So they mix it in perfumes, they mix it in different substances that help the women to stay fresh and to help them, you know, get in the mood. Okay, so Virgin, like I told you, is awesome. Virgin is a wonderful product, and we call it our flagship product because it's the most popular, right? Um, Being in Team Presidential, you must have heard of her, you must have met Madam Talatu, and she's an expert, recruiter. As in, if she talks to you for 3 minutes about IMMERI, you will be sold, right? So what I want us to do now is, with the aid of these slides that make it easier for us to understand, I want all of us to become master salesmen and saleswomen of Virgin. Let it be a product that we can easily talk about because if you actually go through this slide, you begin to understand the ingredients of Virgin and understand what the ingredients do. So you are better able to convince people. Because when we say uh, it has a refreshing scent, right, and deals with bad odor. Somebody may ask you, how does it do that? You can quickly tell them, okay, there's ilang ilang oil in it, and ilang ilang oil is a natural moisturizer that It doesn't affect the pH of the vagina or anything, but it also helps to deodorize. If you actually put vagina on your skin and smell it, you realize that it's actually very, very, that is an awesome smell. Some people just go for it because of the smell, right? So vagina is an amazing product, and I don't want to talk too much about vagina. Maybe subsequently we'll have a time where we can spend a whole hour on vagina and get more into it. Okay, so can we go to the next slide? Yeah, now, so this is just a summary of the benefits of vagina. It's like what I've been saying before, so we can just skip this. Now, this next slide is from, yeah, this one is actually from a study done by a gynecologist in the Philippines. So this, when it says user feedback, it's actual users. It's not like a fictitious something. No, 90% of users agree that it has excellent malodor effect. It reduces infection and itching, and it reduces redness and pain. Over 95%, that's why I'm talking almost 100% of patients agree that it's moisturizing and it's tightening and it improves the quality of sexual intimacy. So this is not what we are guessing. We are not assuming this fact. This is an actual study that was actually done in Philippines, like I said. So in case any doctor or anybody wants to challenge you that some of you just gonna bring products from one doctor told me, you guys just bring products from wherever, we don't know about the products. And I showed him the study. He kept quiet because the, I challenge anybody to show me any other direct selling company that has taken the time to do a study on their products with actual doctors and actual patients. I don't know if there's any. Okay, so this is a unique selling point for us. This slide alone can actually help you sell Virgin. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Okay, right. This is my newfound love. Uh, so that's all about Virgin. We're going to talk about Adwell now. This is my new wife, right? So I'm a bit excited about her. The product is called Adwell, right? I'm still looking for a cool synonym for it, but for now, all I have is that Adwell is a dietary supplement. But I'm going to find a very nice way to put it, the way I found for Virgin. Okay, so just give me some time. Let's go to the next slide. Adwell contains enzymes, okay? But please don't make that mistake. Enzymes are not the only things in Adwell. We have enzymes, we have a prebiotic in Adwell called oligofructose. We'll look at it later. We also have some vitamins and some biological, entities like bioflavonoids and the rest. And these products now are in the middle. We have enzymes on one hand, we have vitamins on the other hand, and we have this what we call phytochemicals in the middle. They are the ones that help the enzymes interact with the vitamins. And these guys are very, very important in helping your body function because your body functions by a combination of enzymes and the vitamins. Very, very, very important information that you should have. So I really am not very okay with saying Adwell is just an enzyme supplement. No, it's way more than that because I'll show you what Adwell does. Okay, so very quickly, enzymes are substances in the body that help to speed up the reactions in the body. Reactions like helping us digest our food, helping us to also do other things in the body that we don't have time to talk about right now. Okay, so they help us to break down large complex molecules. Okay, so let me give you an example, right? Let me give you an example. Uh, there's a substance in the body called glycogen, but it has to be broken down to a form that the body can use. So what does that breaking down in the body? An enzyme. Okay, some enzymes we have naturally occurring in our body, some enzymes we have to ingest. But because of the fact that we eat a lot of processed food these days, it is difficult for us to get the required amount of enzymes in our diet. And make no mistake about it, enzymes are very, very, very important for daily activities. I'm talking digestion, I'm talking of metabolism. Very important. And when you now have a lack of enzymes, you now have your metabolism rate going down, and then you start putting on weight, even though you're eating the same amount of food. Okay, so that's just a breakdown about enzymes. And we have these two things on this slide here are important things for you to take note of, which is the bioenzymes and the smart technology. These two technologies help help Adwell to have better enzymatic activity. Remember what I said initially. The natural design, the way God designed it, was that in addition to the enzymes in our body, we are supposed to take in enzymes in the foods we eat. That's why we are encouraged to eat a lot of fruits and vegetables. But these days, even the fruits and vegetables are being processed and they lose their enzymes, which is where this bioenzymes and smart technology comes in, because they help to increase the enzymatic activity of Adwell by over 470%. And they also help to increase the anti-inflammatory activity by 41%, right? So very crucial, very important information to remember. Can we go to the next slide? Okay, so benefits of Adwell. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Um, okay, what we'll do is just take a look at this slide, then we're going to go to the next slide where we can actually now explain some of these things, because these ones here are, like I always tell you guys, it's an oversimplification of what Adwell does. For example, point A, improve intestinal health. It does a lot more than that, right? So let's take a look at the next slide to give us better understanding of these things that we've seen. Now, first thing, it helps digest fats, carbohydrates, and proteins within 20 minutes. Especially for people who have the bad habit of eating late at night, which I don't advise, right? But in case people do, right, just tell them to take Adwell 15 minutes before they eat, okay? It helps to digest the food within 20 minutes, okay? And it has anti-inflammatory properties. Let's talk about number 3 first, then I'll come back to talk about number 2. It cleanses the colon, which is why, it says improve intestinal health. I said that's just a very simplified way of saying what it does. It cleanses the colon because it has what we refer to as fibers, plant fiber. If you've actually taken Adwell before, you notice that there's some particles inside. These are what we refer to as the fiber, okay? And what the fiber does is that it helps to cleanse the colon. The colon is the large intestine. Remember that what happens, food enters through your mouth, churned in the stomach, and digested a bit, absorbs, the nutrients are absorbed in the small intestine, which is very large, long and has a large surface area. Then it goes to the large intestine, where the large intestine is actually very large, and that is where absorption of water takes place, okay? So what happens is this. In the colon, there are some things we eat in our food that the body can't digest. Things like cellulose, things like hides and fats, what we call tomo here, right? Skin is the body doesn't has difficulty digesting it. So what that happens is that in the colon, they begin to build up because, like I said, the body can't digest it. So what just happens is that is churned in the stomach, but they just deposit themselves in the colon. If you don't take a product like Adwell to help, which is rich in prebiotics, which is also rich in fiber that helps you to cleanse your colon, you're going to have an issue as you get older. With each and every passing day, you need to have a colon cleanser, right? So what happens with Adwell is that Adwell cleanses the colon daily. Sorry, did someone say something? Okay, sorry, I thought I heard something. Adwell cleanses the colon daily. What we have, right, in some forms of colon cleansers is that they just act like as a purgative and just cleanse your system. And while those are good, right, this is a better option to cleanse your colon daily, so that as the days go by, the prebiotics are helping to digest those tough substances that are stuck in your colon, and break them down, so that they can easily pass out. Because, why am I saying this? Cleansing your colon is important because, like I said, water is absorbed back into the body from the colon. If those things are there, and bear in mind some of those things stay there for a long period of time, if they stay there, they now lead to what is referred to as auto intoxication, and they also cause constipation, right? So, which is why I'm going to go back now to point number 2, which is it has anti-inflammatory properties. Uh, Adwell causes a reduction in inflammation in every part of the body, right? Inflammation in the colon, inflammation in the blood vessels, which is the circulatory system, inflammation also regarding the immune system. Okay, please take note of these 3 systems: the digestive system, the immune system, and the circulatory system. Now, these 3 systems actually, more often than not, can have some form of inflammation at one point or the other. What Adwell does is to reduce that inflammation. How does it do that? Some of the ingredients of Adwell have anti-inflammatory properties. A particular enzyme that has that property is called bromelain. Very, very, very powerful anti-inflammatory. Okay, so when you have pain, stiffness in your joints, for patients that have arthritis, patients that have asthma, patients that have things like ulcers, whether they're stomach ulcers or duodenal ulcers, patients that have hardening of the arteries, atherosclerosis, which leads to hypertension. Okay, these patients will benefit from the anti-inflammatory properties of Adwell. Please note that we recommend that they use Adwell in addition to their normal prescription drugs and keep using it until the time that their doctor believes that they don't need their prescription medicine anymore. Okay. Now, we've talked about relieving constipation. Advil has antibacterial properties. Why? It has proteases. Proteases are enzymes that digest proteins. So once you have Advil in your blood system, right, because a bacteria is actually a protein, particularly viruses as well. Viruses are particles of DNA that are wrapped up in a protein envelope. Coronavirus that causes COVID-19, it's the same thing. It has protein covering. Adwell digests protein. So if you have Adwell in your system, it actually helps to clear up viruses, which is why, try this, right? If you have Adwell at home, try it. If you notice any symptom of sore throat or catarrh, take Adwell twice a day for 3 days and watch what happens to that sore throat. You will thank me. You will call me and you will thank me. It's a natural way of dealing with bacteria and viruses without having to take antibiotics all the time. In this part of the world, we abuse antibiotics to the point where they become ineffective. Okay, so that's a very crucial point. We've also talked about inhibiting toxins secretion in the GIT. It balances intestinal bacteria, which is where the prebiotic comes in. Adwell has a prebiotic, which is different from the prebiotic that is in vagin, that acts in the vaginal area. The, the prebiotic in Adwell is oligofructose. Okay, now, that oligofructose, what it does is that once it gets into the colon, it's not digested in the stomach, it's not digested in the small intestine, so it gets to the colon whole. Once it gets there, it begins to feed the good bacteria, okay, at the expense of the bad bacteria. So it's doing 2 things at once. It kills the bad bacteria that leads to inflammation, right? What we refer to as causing inflammatory bowel disease and the rest, right? So once it begins to increase the population of this good bacteria, what now happens is that it does the next point, which is regulating the intestinal pH, makes it slightly acidic, thereby killing off the bad bacteria. And then, very important, right? Let's have the next slide. Very important thing that it does, this prebiotic does, uh, is that it helps to do point number 1 on this slide, which is helps to regulate blood sugar. Mike, which type of magic is this? How does it help to regulate blood sugar? I'll explain. These good bacteria, once they grow right in the colon and colonize the colon, because nature abhors the vacuum. Okay, I'm keeping an eye on the time now. Let me just quickly explain this. Nature abhors vacuum, right? So once the good bacteria now has colonized the colon, they begin to grow all the way back into the small intestine as well and regulate the pH, right? So what that does is that it helps to regulate the amount of sugar that goes into the bloodstream, which is why Adwell is perfect for diabetic patients. It is perfect for diabetic and hypertensive patients. Why? It helps to regulate the amount of sugar that even enters the bloodstream in the first place. You know, diabetics have an issue with controlling sugar in the blood. So what we're saying is, once you've eaten your starchy food, are broken down to carbohydrates are broken down to sugars. The amount of sugar absorbed into the bloodstream is now regulated. Why? Because the good bacteria break down the sugar to other things within the intestinal level. Okay, so that helps you. You know, your body has less sugar to deal with. So people that are obese also need a product like Advil because it also helps them lose weight by this same mechanism. Okay, so of course I've spoken about improving intestinal mineral absorption. It's the same process. Lowers fat and cholesterol in the bloodstream, the fats in the blood and also the fats that are lined up on the blood vessels. Okay, it helps to dissolve blood clots. This is also very, very important, right? Same process. It has lipase and proteases inside. These are enzymes that help to digest these things. And uh, this mechanism of action is what is responsible for doing the next thing, which is it significantly inhibits the proliferation of cervical cancer cells because it breaks them down. These cancer cells are cells that begin to reproduce out of control. So Adwell breaks them down. Okay, it helps to relieve heartburn and indigestion. It also helps to relieve gas and bloating. I don't want to talk much about this so that you know I won't spend much time. Can we have the next slide, please? Okay, so our time is running out. I have a lot of things to say about hardware, but let's just go up to VTIDE so that we won't spend much time. Hardware is the acronym, right? I think I stand corrected. Maybe Madam Talatu or Mr. Brian will correct me later. Hardware, I believe, is formed from the combination of the two words. Yeah, it's a combination of two words, which is uh, addition to wellness. Okay, just give me a minute. Give me a minute, okay? So Adwell is a combination of two words, addition to wellness. While VTIDE is a combination of the two acronyms, vital peptides, right? Bioactive peptides. So that begins to give us an idea of what VTIDE is. VTIDE is uh, made from soybeans and lemon, okay? There are some active ingredients there, some active what we refer to in science as peptides, which we're going to look into at some other points, right? But in these calls, the time is limited, so we may not be able to break it down so much. But let's just understand. Let me break it down a little for you. What are peptides? Can we go to the next slide, please? What are peptides? Peptides are the building blocks of life. What do I mean? You remember when we're talking about Adwell, we're talking of enzymes, we're talking of vitamins, we're talking of biochemical entities, or what we refer to as phytochemicals. Now, guess what? Enzymes are actually made up of peptide units. Peptides are what come together to form proteins. Do you understand me? Peptides rather are what comes together to form proteins. A peptide is a combination of two or more amino acids. So we have amino acids as the basic building block. Amino acids come together to form peptides. Peptides come together to form proteins. The proteins, we know proteins like meat and beans and the rest. Okay, so a peptide is that small chain of like sometimes 8 to 10 amino acids, but it could be longer. These are part of the building blocks of life, and they're highly active. Right? So every enzyme or hormone in the body is a form of peptide with different building blocks of amino acids in the body. Okay? So they are all over the body. Right? Every cell in the body is made up of different form of peptides, either in the form of enzymes or proteins. The cells are made up of peptides. Okay, sorry, did someone say something? Okay, sorry. So the cells are made up of peptides. Our muscles, our tissues are all made up of amino acids that come together to form peptides. Peptides come together to form proteins, and proteins come together to form cells. Cells form tissues. Tissues form organs, and the rest. So that gives us a basic idea of what a peptide is. So now, remember how I started, right? VTide, or active peptide. So we just removed, it's an acronym, right? Form the two together. So this particular peptide that we isolated from soya beans and from lemon are actually, we look at peptide and we selected the ones that are actually active, that actually help to do various things in the body. Okay? It's like saying in the computer world, you go to the source code of a website to change things, or on your phone, you go to the settings on your phone to change things. These peptides have the ability to help regulate various functions in the body, either to slow them up, speed up, or to slow down, or to increase, or to reduce. I don't know if you're getting the picture here. So as we look at VTide very briefly, we have limited time. As we look at VTide very briefly, you'll begin to appreciate what we have been able to achieve with VTide. Next slide, sir. Okay, so now, looking at these benefits, now you begin to better appreciate what we're talking about. Because remember I said peptides are the building blocks of life. They are the things that help to regulate the activities of life, right? Enzymes are actually made up of peptides. Hormones are also made up of peptides. Hormones like insulin, like glucagon, hormones like estrogen, like progesterone, hormones like whatever hormone or enzymes you can think of are actually made up of peptides. Okay, so the peptides, they help to vitalize activities on a cellular level. Okay, so this is different from any other drug you can find, because let's take hypertension for example. If someone has hypertension, what we're trying to do is to bring down the blood pressure. But what VTide does, right, in an attempt to solve the same problem, is to go back to the basic cellular level to see how we can correct the problem that led us there in the first place. So unlike an antihypertensive tablet that you can take that works for 8 to 12 hours, VTide, it gets to work and keeps working on the cell as long as it's present in the body. Okay? It helps to restore damaged cells and recondition cell structures. It inhibits inflammation and, defect in the immune system. Uh, One of these days on a particular call, I would have to explain to you guys how the immune system works. It's very beautiful, it's very brilliant, but we don't have the time right now. And it also helps to promote cellular assimilative function. We're talking about metabolism here now. Okay, so bear in mind, right? One very important factor to bear in mind is this: the body can store fat, the body can store carbohydrates, right? But the body cannot store protein. The body cannot store peptides, which is why peptides are very important, which is why amino acids are very important, because once the body requires them, the body synthesizes them in the liver, right? It forms them through a process of metabolism, right? Because metabolism can refer to breaking down or building up. So we start from a particular amino acid and begin to add different chains on it. So if you don't have the required peptides to do so, you begin to come into issues, which is where Adwell now comes in, because some of these functions begin to reduce as we age. And when I say age, I'm talking of like from 35 and above. Right? So this some of these functions begin to slow down in our body. So what does Vita do in our body? VTAD helps to protect the cells. Like I told you, they act on a cellular level. We don't have anything in science right now, conventional drugs, that act on a cellular level. Science is currently trying to work on something like that. Let me just give you a bit of a shocker, right? This small time we have. The vaccines they are currently working on for coronavirus has to do with a cell-mediated process to stimulate your immune system. Okay, so this is 2020. Science is just beginning to understand now that okay, we have to move to the cellular level. Before, all our drugs and therapies have to do with influencing things at the hormonal level, influencing things at the organ level, right? But with VTAD, what we're doing is that we're going back to basics, helping you to form the building blocks from the cell, which is how Adwell is able to slow down aging. You begin to see it in your skin. Adwell helps you with wrinkles. I have testimonies from about 3 or 4 different people that have used Adwell and tell me that it helps on the skin. Okay, Adwell prevents cancer. How does it do that? It helps to strengthen the immune system at the cellular level. Okay, when next, right? When next, I promise you guys, when next we talk, I'm going to explain to you guys what we mean by the immune system. Because I know if we say something like the circulatory system, we have going around the body. But the immune system is a bit different, it's a bit complicated because it's in different parts of the body. But the immune system has representatives that go around the whole body in the blood so that they can respond to any threats that come up, right? A major part of the immune system are the white blood cells, but that's not all. White blood cells and the platelets are just a part. There are some particular proteins that are released, which is where we now start becoming deficient as we get older. Because you notice that cancer is not very common with children. It exists, but it's very rare. Cancer is more common with older people because the immune system begins to have issues. Because once the body identifies a cancer cell, it's supposed to send a signal to the immune system, which will send platelets and white blood cells to eat it up. But sometimes the messengers, which are called proteins like fibrinogen and the rest, become defective. We don't produce enough of it, so the signal is not well received, and the cancer keeps growing. But VTAD helps you to correct this anomaly, right? By making sure your immune system is back on track. What kills people these days is no more typhoid fever or malaria. What kills people are things like cancer because the immune system is defective, okay? Which is why VTAD really helps with that. Okay, so how does it regulate blood pressure? That's number 4. It regulates blood pressure, like I said, by acting on the blood vessels on a cellular level. It helps them to better expand and contract. In the course of the day's activity, sometimes you may need to run, or you may need to walk briskly, or you may need to climb a flight of stairs, or do other activities. In the course of those activities, your heart rate is not supposed to increase beyond a particular point. But how does the body help you to do that? The blood vessels now expand so that the blood pressure doesn't go up considerably. But when they become stiff and hardened because of plaque and cholesterol and the rest, you now begin to have an issue. So what does VTAD do? VTAD helps you to correct the blood pressure on a cellular level. Okay? Point number 5, it helps to restore skin and muscle elasticity. The same process, okay? Because it acts on the cellular level and helps you with different hormones and enzymes and helps the body to form all these compounds that you need for elasticity, things like collagen and other things that are released by the cells of the muscle and the skin that help to release to bring back what we refer to as the muscle tone. Okay, we don't really have the time to discuss all of that. It helps strengthen muscle, it eliminates fatigue, right? And we've talked about how we have the immunity. Number 9, very crucial, right? Very crucial point, and I would like to end things up there, is that it helps in weight loss. Now, for things like weight loss, for things like people who have diabetes, people who have hypertension, people who have arthritis, I would advise that you give them VTAD with Adwell. Okay? VTAD and Adwell. VTAD in the morning, first in the morning on an empty stomach. Adwell last thing at night, 2 or 3 hours after your dinner, also on an empty stomach. Together, the results are remarkable, right? Because remember what I said, Adwell is a supplement that has enzymes vitamins, and phytochemicals, right? Which helps to, regulate the body function. Vitide are peptides that help to regulate the function. So working together, they help you feel as good as new. So people who are experiencing menopause, people who have arthritis, people who have diabetes, it helps to prevent cancer. Now, please let's explain something at this point. Once a patient now has cancer, right? Patients now are put on different drugs, right? Adwell and Vitide will still help, right? But once patients have cancer already, it becomes a bit tricky. So, will they help the cancer patient? Yes. But would the doctors want to put them on it? It depends on them. People that have things like fibroid, ovarian cysts, and all those kinds of things, a combination of Vitide, Adwell, and Virgin takes care of it within 2 weeks. I have 2 or 3 different testimonies, and I'm not trying to exaggerate, right? Actual testimonies. Took it, Vitide and Adwell every day, with Virgin every day for 2 weeks, and fibroid, ovarian cysts would actually dissolve because of the mechanism of action of these 3 things. And remember what I said, right, initially. Can we have the next slide, sir? Remember what I said initially. The idea behind IMMERI products is to be more preventive. Okay? The idea behind IMMERI products is to be more preventive, right? The name IMMERI is from IMMER, the German word for eternal or eternity, and I, which is stylized from for international. So IMMERI is the international company that gives you product that helps to not only treat particular situations in the body, but also helps to prevent. Why am I saying this, right? Give a woman Virgin, it helps to prevent infection, right? Give anybody above age 30, to be honest, right, can benefit from Vitide and Adwell. It helps them prevent things like cancer, hypertension, diabetes, arthritis, and the rest. It's good for people to start taking it early in life. It's also good for people to form a habit of taking these supplements daily. Okay, I believe that I have come to the end of the presentation. The time is 5:01. I think I've done a great job. Does anybody have any questions, please? Okay, this all of these parts are actually what I've been talking about, So yeah, these are all. I've actually explained all of these functions in my discussion. Okay, so does anybody have any questions about Vitide, about Adwell, or about Virgin? Questions? Will anybody have any questions? Or should I do like my lecturers in school and start calling names of people who may have
Hello, good
questions?
afternoon. Hello.
Good afternoon. Please, can I know your name?
Okay, I'm Omeye Chamaka.
Chiamaka. Okay, go ahead with your
Yes,
question,
Omeye
please.
Chamaka. So it's a fantastic presentation, but because you're in a hurry.
Yes, sorry about that.
Yes,
Pardon me.
so I know that another presentation that you'll be detailed because it's
Yes.
when we have that in knowledge of what we are selling and using it to be able to sell more. No, you'll be
Yeah,
able to
true, true.
share the products.
I agree, totally
Eh,
agree,
eh,
totally agree.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my question is it good for nursing mother, for people that use a virgin? What is it called? The
Virgin.
breast, a virgin. Is
Yes,
it
ma'am.
good for nursing mother?
Okay. Now,
And
when you say, okay, well, finish then, let me ask you some questions about your question.
okay, because some people that you recommended some products from other network marketing this thing that
Yes.
you are in before. So you can now suggest, because of the durability of this product now, can you suggest to them to use this virgin and they are nursing mothers?
Okay. Now, okay, that's the question, right?
That's the question.
Okay, very
Then the
good.
other
Now,
two, two supplements.
okay.
Is there an age restriction for them? for people taking it. The people must be up to 30 or 20 something. I want to know the age bracket for the other two supplements. And I've seen that the other two supplements, they have something in common. Can you recommend one, or can two of them still, can you recommend the two for people?
Yes, you can. You can. Let me start with the easiest question. You can recommend the two of them together, or you can use them apart. Okay?
Okay.
Now, but for some particular illnesses that I mentioned, you need to use them together to get best results. Okay? Okay, let me see how many of them I can answer now. Age restriction for Adwell and Vitide. There is no age restriction for Adwell and Vitide. Okay? Children can use Adwell and Vitide. Okay? Particularly children that have some issues like asthma and some other kind of issues, right? You can start giving them Adwell particularly to help, because remember what I said, Adwell helps to reduce inflammation. Okay? Yeah. So what that means, because if you understand the process by which people come down with asthmatic attacks, right? The challenge is that there's swelling within the lungs, right? What we refer to as the alveolar sacs, small places that we get air from. So they begin to gasp for air and all, right? So with Adwell, it helps them to better manage the inflammatory process. So children can take Adwell. Children from as little as, I saw somewhere that newborn babies can take, but I can't confirm that. So let me just say from like 2 years old, you can take Adwell. But I'll get back to you on that newborn babies, because let's look at the things inside Adwell. It's totally natural. Papaya, that's pop-up, fruit, pineapples, lentils, some cereals, and the rest. So children from 2 years old and above can use Adwell, but they may not use the whole sachet, maybe half or so, just to help them, their stomach digest it. Once you dissolve it in water, it's something they can easily drink. Okay? Now, your first question, which I perceive is the most important, can nursing mothers use Virgin? Absolutely yes. In fact, let me now shock you. Nursing mothers need Virgin more. I'm assuming that you're talking of nursing mothers that just give birth, maybe like they gave birth 2 days ago or 3 days ago. Why? Number one, the place is also obviously sore and red, and and what we do in this part of the world is that we will now tell them to go and do sit bath. In that sit bath, we'll put warm or hot water and pour half a liter of Izal inside and pour 200 kilograms of salt inside. Though that sit bath almost extinguishes all the lactobacilli in the woman's body. What the normal recommendation for sit bath is to just sit down in warm water alone, just warm water. But our mother-in-laws will not agree. They will tell you to put some amount of things inside. And those things they tell you to put inside begins to kill off the normal protection of the woman. So after the sit bath, you now begin to realize that you have a lot of issues. You think it's the childbirth. It's not the childbirth. It's the sit bath. So Virgin is recommended very, very well for nursing mothers. It doesn't affect the baby in any way. It doesn't affect breastfeeding in any way. It just, because you're putting Virgin straight into the vagina. So it's perfect for nursing mothers. I don't know if I was able to answer your question properly.
You've answered my questions. Yes.
Okay, you're satisfied with the answers? Or you want me to talk more?
Yes, I'm satisfied with the answers.
So Virgin is perfect for you. In fact, let me shock you guys. Bonus answer to you. Some people abroad, don't come and hold me. Some people abroad, they give Virgin to the mother like a week to her EDD, because the lactobacilli in the mother's womb is what passes to the child if the child is a girl. So they would prefer to give that so that the mother comes out and gives the child pure strains of lactobacilli, but that's a discussion for another day. Okay, I'm seeing somebody's hand up. Is that Gladys or somebody? Okay,
hello,
Gladys. Yeah, Mike. Good evening. Yes, ma'am, I can hear you.
Thank you for a very wonderful presentation. I want to appreciate you
and we thank you for opening our eyes further. What we want to do now is to end this session, and there are a few questions here which I will just So one is, how does Adwell relate to the pancreas? Another one is, can VTide? I suppose VTide can take care of pile. I don't know if it is pile, P-I-L-E, or he write P.
Yeah, pile.
So it has to be pile. Another question is, what is the best time to take VTide and Adwell? Any other person with a question can direct it up. We don't want our sessions to be too long.
Yes. Yeah, well, it's good to keep it within an hour so that everybody. Okay, let me quickly answer the questions. Number one, what does Adwell have to do with the pancreas? I believe that's the question. Now, there's something you will notice if you look at nature. Most of the digestive enzymes, most in the body, lipase, protease, and the rest, come from the pancreas. Also, there's a hormone that is also released from the pancreas on the islet cells called insulin. Okay, you release insulin and glucagon. So here is what happens, right? How does Adwell relate to the pancreas? I'll tell you. When you have a deficiency of enzymes, right, because of the lot of processed food we eat and everything, your pancreas begins to swell up, begins to enlarge in size because it has to work harder to secrete enzymes. Because remember what I told you, the natural process is that as you eat food, you're supposed to be eating the food with enzymes so that they are already pre-digested as they are coming in. Okay, which is why you notice fruits after a while they begin to degrade and spoil because there are already enzymes on the fruits. Okay, so once you don't have enough enzymes coming in, your pancreas begins to work over time, and once it does that, it begins to increase in size, and that begins to affect you, and that is what in science we call pancreatitis. Taking Adwell begins to reduce the pressure on the pancreas if you have that pancreatitis. If you don't have, it helps to reduce the stress on the pancreas. And because that pancreatitis, of course, someone that has that, you know that diabetes is not far from that person. You understand? Because once that thing swells up, it affects all the hormones and enzymes secreted from the pancreas. So I don't know if I was able to answer that person's question correctly. Adwell helps to reduce the pressure on the pancreas. The other one I remember is that VTide, can it be used for pile? Yes, it can be used for pile, right? But let the person also still take, the medicine that whoever prescribes for him or her. Okay. But yes, it actually works for pile. Okay.
And the last one is,
remind me the last one. Like forgotten.
What's the best time to take VTide and Adwell?
Our advice, right, that you take VTide first thing in the morning before eating, and take Adwell last thing at night. But make sure you space it from your food by like 2 or 3 hours so that it enters your bloodstream straight and begins to do all the work that it's supposed to do.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate
it. Okay. Any other questions, they can direct it to Madam Talatu that can send to me, or you can, if you're on a chat, you can chat me directly.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much. We really appreciate
Thank you, ma'am.
We pray that God will give you more wisdom, and we intend to have more sessions where we can focus on one product each, because you have enough knowledge and more that you want to share on each product. So we think the best way to go about it is to have a day for Virgin, a day for Adwell, and a day for me. So we hope to do that. And so to round up this session, I want to appreciate Mr. Jamal for bringing about this idea and making it happen to this extent so far. And to everyone on the call, thank you very much for staying with us. And I would like to bring our own mentor, leader, father, to close this session. Mr. Brian.
Mr. Latiboy, you're naughty. Thank you so much. This was an amazing, amazing session. I told Mr. Latiboy, she is the host. And so I was staying quiet and taking my notes. Mike, Thank you so much. This was an absolutely amazing session. Very, very enlightening. I'm looking forward to the 3 separate sessions that we will have, 30-minute sessions, where we will have an opportunity to focus on each of our products, because, you know, our products are amazing. You have really, really, really allowed us to now see just how much our founders, just how much our company has put into creation of these products for us as distributors and for the rest of the world. Again, I can't thank you enough for putting this together. And thank you to Jamal for creating this avenue. You know, it was thanks to leadership. It was thanks to Jamal taking leadership. And I want every single person that is on this call and on the call recording to do the same, to focus on identifying, as I said, you know, we have a great US president who says, ask not what you could do for your country, but ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. And so for everyone on here, ask not what the company can do for you, ask what you can do for the company. And this is a perfect example of what we can do for our company and our businesses in general, to create avenues for people to continue to learn and share their experiences as we all march our way to success. So again, thank you so much, Mike, for this awesome presentation. Thank you, Mr. Latubwai, for hosting this. And again, to all of our members and our guests, please get back to the person who really shared this with you. And if you have any questions, please escalate those questions to Mike or to Mr. Latubwai, so that we can fill in as much information as possible. And so with that, I'm going to turn the mic over to Mr. Latubwai and to Mr. Mike Issa to close. Thank you so much. Back to you.
Thank you so much, sir. Mr. Mike.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate the opportunity to talk to you. If you have any questions, find a way to get them to me. I will definitely answer you. We just wanted to make sure that the calls are not more than an hour, so that, you know, it's easier for you to concentrate and to, you know, participate. Thank you very much.
And thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of the day. See you on our next call tomorrow, 7 p.m. Business opportunity presentation. Bye.
Bye.